watching Sioux City School.
You're watching Sioux City School. You're watching Sioux City School.
My distinct pleasure to welcome Lieutenant Governor Polito back to the city of Brockton. And the Lieutenant Governor visited here more than once during the campaign and even took the time on a visit to take a walking tour of our downtown. So when we had a chance to talk a little bit about economic development today, she was very familiar with projects that we have underway and sites that we have. As a mayor here in the Commonwealth, I'm extremely pleased that Governor Baker has established developing strong partnerships between his administration and cities as a top priority. And I'm even happier that he's placed Lieutenant Governor Polito in a leadership role in that effort. And it's really significant that Lieutenant Governor Polito is here with us today in Brockton. I do want to make it a point to publicly thank the governor for fulfilling his campaign promise to release $100 million in Chapter 90 road repair money that had been tied up. That's right. We've already been given the confirmation $1 million of that money is coming directly here to Brockton. And I think it would be the understatement of the year to say that our infrastructure and our roads here in the city desperately need help. And we're looking forward this spring to using that $1 million very wisely here in the city. Our administration here in Brockton shares many common goals with the governor and the lieutenant governor. We share a vision for economic opportunity and development, safe and clean neighborhoods, investing in gateway cities, and we share a lot of the governor, the lieutenant governor's commitment to accountability in government and reducing red tape and promoting best practices, something that we have already tried to embrace here in Brockton, but are really excited now with the governor, lieutenant governor looking to implement this on a statewide basis. I know as a relatively new, relatively inexperienced mayor, the resources that will be made available to us here in Brockton through this compact that the governor, lieutenant governor are establishing will be very important. So, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for being here. We're looking forward to working with you to help develop small business, foster entrepreneurship, and create economic opportunities here in the city of Brockton. So, thank you for being here, and I'll invite you to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here with Mayor Carpenter and all of you in this beautiful City Hall in the City of Champions. And I remember coming back here during the summer months on a much sunnier and brighter day than today, but it's really a pleasure to be able to return today as your Lieutenant Governor, working alongside Charlie Baker, Governor Baker, to be able to partner with the mayor and his staff, the opportunity to meet with Rob and many of you here in this room that get up every day, love your work as public servants, and you're here on the front lines, literally, working hard to make Brockton a great place for your kids to have a good opportunity in school, for safe neighborhoods, and just general opportunity to work and to be able to climb that ladder to achieve more for yourself and your families. But you are partners with us, and the message today is that we want you to know that the governor and I value the work that you do, but it is not just a one-way street. It's not something that you can do alone, and it's not something that we in state government can do alone. That's why the very first executive order that Governor Baker signed was this order that forms the Community Compact Cabinet, and he's asked me as your Lieutenant Governor to be the lead champion for our cities and towns. And the executive order does a few things. Number one, it elevates the relationship between our cities and towns and state government to the cabinet level, and that the cities and towns, your mayor, will have a direct line to me as your Lieutenant Governor. That's number one. Number two, it also takes the Division of Local Services, which works under the Department of Revenue, and elevates that position as a direct line to me so that we will have support and resources available to strengthen this relationship between our cities and towns and state government. And the third part is that we value the work that you do, and I know that you expect state government to also do a good job. So we want to recognize the best practices, the good decision-making, the forward thinking that you embrace here in the city of Brockton, and we on the state level want to be a good partner with you. So when it comes to cutting red tape, or looking at those unfunded mandates, or being able to partner with you and invest in the infrastructure that you need to develop and grow jobs and opportunities in your downtown, we want to be there with you. So I'm very pleased to be able to make this one of our first stops to come back and deliver this message to you, that you have a seat at our table, that this is the beginning, I hope, of a very strong and productive partnership, and just thank you very much for what you do, and a particular shout out to your DPW for the hard work that you've had to put out there over the past few weeks. I know we got another big storm coming, so be safe. Thank you for what you do. And I'm available to take any questions should anyone have them. Thank you very much.
In Brockton, we swing for the fences so we can touch home.
We coach in Brockton to instill the teamwork that builds a great winning tradition.
We do business in Brockton because here you can find a taste of home away from home.
We keep our company in Brockton because we love this city.
I study and learn in Brockton to achieve my goals.
When Brockton is home, everything is within reach.
What it means to me is pride, means determination, and it means U.S. history. Teaching in the social science department, I've taught freshman world, US 1, US 2, and now the senior African American history. And I think one of the things as far as with the creation of Black Studies and Carnegie Woodson originally starting Negro History Week became Black History Month was the idea that it is part and integral to US history. So the idea of whether it's wars, whether it's reform movements or what have you, it's seamless. So that's why I try to push to my family, to class, to anyone I speak to, that it is a history that should be looked at as part of US history from the inception.
When I was housemaster, which is an interesting term, historically interesting, when I was housemaster and I was going in to talk to a guidance counselor, and a student was sitting there with her guidance counselor, and she was just staring at me, and she said, "Who is she?" And so I introduced myself to her, and the guidance counselor said, "She's the housemaster of the Red Building." She said, "No," and she thought it was the male who was working with me. "He's the housemaster." He said, "No, he's the assistant. She's the housemaster." And she stared at me and she said, "Oh my gosh, you're the housemaster." And it was a moment that he took to say, "Look where she is. Think about where you could be. Here's a role model for you as you move along." And that student happens to work in Brockton High as an MTA right now, which is very nice to see her come back, connect to the school. So that's a nice thing. And even now, walking around through the school and greeting students and talking to students, "You're the principal, you're the principal." It is something different for them, and in our school system, we have a lot of phenomenal people. The staff diversity looks very different from our student body, as everybody acknowledges and knows. And so when they see me, it's something new for them, and it's an experience that I can share with them, and always try to be that model and that character that they need to see. As if I can do it, I'm no different from you. You can do it too. It's hard work, determination, set some goals, and never give up on what it is that you want to accomplish. And that's the message to them that I hope that they walk away with.
When Brockton is home, everything is within reach. And I think that symbolizes a lot about what our city is about going into the 21st century. We're a city of opportunity, and a city of opportunities for fair housing, opportunities for a top-notch education for every child that grows up in the city, regardless of their challenges. And we're a city of economic opportunity. Because we are rebuilding the economy in this city, and we are going in the right direction again. And we realize that the future growth of our city's economy is going to be built around minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, immigrant-owned businesses. That's the future of our city in the 21st century, and that's what we're building right now, is this vision of a new Brockton. And we're also a city of Brockton that I think in the 21st century is a leading-edge city. The city of Brockton looks like and will look like what the rest of the country is going to look like as the century progresses. And so we're not just a city, we're not just a multiracial city, we're also becoming a city of multiracial residents. And that shows that we're ahead of the curve because we do have so many communities here living together, and we're committed to making sure that as Brockton prospers and grows, that all of the folks of all of the communities in our city are sharing equally in that opportunity to go forward. We've made a commitment in my administration to embracing real community policing, not what they used to call community policing, but real community policing where we proactively reach out, listen to, and work with members of the community. And we have already established a community liaison officer for that reason on the police department, and she's sitting here with me this morning, Officer Lisa Fonts. And working with other police officers, she's already doing some great work. And I think it's important for you to know that we did make a commitment to diversity in city hiring. We did make a commitment to diversity in our police and fire departments. And the police and fire are a little bit more of a challenge because of this thing called civil service that makes me try to operate with one hand tied behind my back. And I think it's really a time for us to begin having a conversation about whether we really need to still have civil service involved in our hiring, because it really does restrict what we can do. It's a complex conversation because veterans are very concerned that we not walk away from civil service. So I think that we're going to have to find a way in the long run to continue to guarantee opportunities for our veterans while ensuring that everyone else is getting opportunities also. But I'll tell you that we just recently selected 9 recruits, 9 cadets to go to the police academy in March, and 6 of the 9 cadets are people of color, and that's the first time that's ever happened in this city. So we are moving forward. We are moving forward in building a city that truly reflects the people who live in it. As Dr. King said, the time is always right to do the right thing. And I'm giving you our word that we are here and we are ready to do the right thing. Thank you.
I do, though, want to say a special word to and about your mayor, Bill Carpenter. I was very, very impressed with the comments that you offered and the vision that reflected. And I would hope and pray that the people of this city will galvanize behind you and other leaders to give life, if you will, to that vision of inclusiveness. Where there's a will, you can find a way. There are a lot of smart people in this community. And I'm convinced that you can figure this out. You can bridge the divides that must be overcome. You can get this done. It is what you must do if you are going to be faithful in the moment. You've done it before. We've done it before. You can do it again. And I promise you that if you do, to paraphrase Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, it will be a day when, after having mastered worlds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, we shall have harnessed for God the energies of love. And then, for the second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire. Thank you.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Because of his commitment to call and to do the right thing, his words don't sound like a mere catchphrase anymore. Because his words come from a deep place of virtue, like all that you represent in this room and all the ethical contemplation that went into your coming and doing what you do every day, they're not just words of a man. They're words that go deeper to you and you understand us and understand him. His words are timeless, carrying an echo of eternity. An eternity that tells us to walk together and don't get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. An eternity that tells us you reap what you sow. An eternity that knows that beloved community that Dr. King yearned for was not a figment of his imagination, but a reality calling on us to come out of slavery. I saw the save a date card that you sent announcing today's program. It displayed another quote from Dr. King that remains meaningful for us today. It says, if you can fly, then, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. We don't all move in the same way. We don't all move at the same pace. We don't all move at the same time. But we all contribute to the great work, to the new world, to the building of a house of right, a house of justice, a house of truth. And if we just keep moving it forward, your minds, your hearts, your moral compass, your commitment to live out the vision for the world you have dreamed and pushed toward and pushed forward with all your passion. These will all keep us moving forward. Until Dr. King's nightmare is transformed into his dream, let's work together, together, together.
Jen Crusoe's got it, and she's out in front. And she's got this one, and she puts it into the empty net.
How do you guys feel about Aaron signing his national letter of intent?
Absolutely, enthralled. We're happy, very proud of this young man. He's gone through a lot, worked very hard, and he gets all the awards, all the accolades. He's the one that worked this hard. He got that.
Exactly what he said. He deserves everything that this child has done.
Aaron? So Aaron, what advice would you give to younger kids and younger athletes?
Well, you definitely can't do this without staying focused in school. And I feel like that was the upper hand that I had going in. Not the fact that I'm just a talented athlete, but staying focused in school and doing all the work that you can is definitely a plus, especially when you're trying to get into higher grade schools.
She blows past the Ursuline defenders, makes a nice move. Her shot is going to go up and in.
So Jen, what made you choose Brown University?
Well, honestly, when I first went to Brown, I automatically fell in love. My dad actually forced me into going to their soccer ID camp. I didn't want to. I wasn't having the best time at that camp. I wasn't performing the way I wanted to, and I honestly didn't even think the coach was looking at me. When he showed an interest, my dad was like, might as well, it's an Ivy League. So went to Brown, fell in love with it, and it was a good balance between academics and high-level soccer, so it was a perfect fit.
Jen, how did it make you feel when you signed your national letter of intent?
Emotional, but I obviously can't show that. It just made it seem like every sacrifice and all the hard work just paid off. Everything I worked for is just all worth it.
What advice would you give to younger students and younger athletes?
Spend as much time as you do, much time and effort as you do on the courts, on the fields, in those sports that you do in the classroom, because it'll all pay off.
My name is Darrell Ellison, and I lost my only son, Carl Evan, in a hit-and-run accident. Carl was a joy beyond words. He was fun-loving. He had a great sense of humor. He had a strong work ethic. He went on at 16 years old, got a job at Shaw's Supermarket, and he worked there until the day he died. He was a very giving person. He never had any money. He was always giving his money away. He would pay for homeless people's meals, whatever he felt they needed. On Sunday, September 28th, Carl had just finished his job at Shaw's in Brockton, Massachusetts. He had crossed the street to go to the 7-Eleven. He was leaving the store at the corner of Belmont and West Street when he was struck and killed at 9:22 p.m. A surveillance camera picked up the vehicle as it was leaving the scene. Police believe the vehicle that hit Carl was a silver or gray minivan. It would have front end damage. There is a $5,000 cash reward for information leading to the apprehension of the person or persons responsible for Carl Evans' death. If you have any information, please call the Massachusetts State Police at 508-923-4205 or the Brockton Police at 508-941-0234. You may also send an email to justiceforcarl@hotmail.com. And to the driver, I believe that you are watching this. This must be a tormenting secret for you to keep. Please turn yourself in. And to those protecting you, please help your loved one do this. Carl Evans was my loved one, and he deserves justice. This is my quest. I have faith that you will do the right thing.